let's look at what we're talking about with the astral plane. Think of it as a double. It's part of the causative world. So things start in the astral and then become materialized in the physical. So it's the astral. Astral means star-like, or the world of the stars. So in the world of the astral, the world of the astral is truly the world of the mental. And so there are many levels of the astral. They're all the way up to the Godhead, and all the way down to the to the most dense forms of emotion and thought. Everybody lives in the astral plane at all times. You can't escape from it. Everybody lives in the astral plane. The astral plane is just the medium through which our minds exist. Okay, and so you have an astral body, just like you have a physical body, because your physical body is the most dense form of your body, and you will have bodies throughout infinity. There will always be a type of body that you have. Now, in different worlds, different bodies are necessary. For instance, our bodies would not be able to function on the sun. Okay, that's not the right type of body to live on the sun. But to believe that there aren't bodies that can exist on the sun, we don't know that. There probably are. Just because if you have any experience in working in the astral, you realize that there's all kinds of beings, there's all kinds of spirits, there's all kinds of things that the physical eyes don't know about, because this world is just an illusion. This world is just an illusion based on the idea that we've been convinced that things that we see through our eyes are real and everything else isn't. Anytime that you're even just daydreaming and just thinking of things, that's part of it. That's part of being in the astral. Anytime you're using your imagination, you are working in a world different from this world. So you're working in the astral world, you're working in the non-physical world. Now, the idea when people think of astral projection is they think about leaving their physical body in order to go somewhere or do something without need of the physical body. But you do that every day. You do that every day. Anytime you remember something that you left, in the bathroom, you project yourself in that bathroom, or you project yourself in time. See, because in the astral realm, everything is not linear like it is here. Everything is subject to the whims of our thought. So you can use the astral plane to go back in time. You can use the astral plane to go forward in time. That's where a lot of clairvoyance comes from, is people going down an astral road of probability. If somebody were not to change their course of action, this is where they're headed, and you can see the possibility of that play out in the future. Now, of course, the future as an experience is not cast in stone, because it's subject to change based on what we're thinking and where we're headed. But most people are pretty predictable. So that's where a lot of clairvoyants can get their ideas from. It's just going into the astral plane and using it to travel through time. Now, you can travel on the astral plane and stay close to physical proximity and close to the present moment in time. And that's what most people think about when they think about astral travel, that they can go, to visit someone, or they can go spy on someone, or they can fly around and do things that without the need of their physical body. They can walk through walls, they can go up, in the sky, they can do whatever they want. And yes, you can. And you can do it right now. You can do it right now. It's just that you haven't really built the skill, maybe, of being able to to figure it out. So here's a few. I'm just going to show you some techniques to get started with this, okay? To play around with it. The astral work is a type of study that's infinite. There's so many different ways that you can do it, but let's just look about how to get onto the astral plane outside of your body while maintaining your consciousness, because it's something you do every night when you dream. You would understand. You can understand that, right? When you're doing things in your dream, you're in a different body. You're not in your physical body. Your physical body's asleep, but you're off doing stuff. Now, some people would say it's just your imagination, but your imagination is the astral plane. That's where it exists. So, but the problem with dreams is that a lot of times we don't remember our dreams. And so, and a lot of time, usually, unless we have trained in lucid dreaming, we don't have any control over what happens in our dreams. But our dreams are an example of a type of astral travel or a type of astral projection. And one of the first things that you can do in order to start gaining mastery over the astral is to remember your dreams. And that's one of the first things you can do, is get a dream journal or a dream diary and put it right to the side of your bed, right on your bedside table. And the first thing you do when you wake up in the morning is you say, what was I dreaming? And you write it down. Now, if you don't remember anything, that's okay. You just put the date and you just write down, I don't remember any of my dreams. And then you go about your day. Now, oftentimes just that first time when you say I didn't remember my dreams last night gives your deep mind the understanding that you're looking to remember your dreams. And so oftentimes, even after the first entry in your dream journal, you start later in the day having some recall of a glimpse of a dream here, a glimpse of a dream there. And you just keep that up for a while. You just keep writing down the first thing when you wake up what you remember of your dreams. And if nothing, just I didn't remember my dreams last night. Make sure you make that entry. Don't just forget. And usually it only takes a week or two and you start really having some dream recall. And that's one of the first things that you can do is to have dream recall. Okay, another simple thing that you can do to start working on astral projection. The first thing you want to do is ground and center and then conjure that orb of light that we work on in A Witch's Primer. So we'll do that real quickly right now. Unless you're driving or it's not safe to do so, find a place where you can be alone and have a sitting in a chair, preferably with your legs uncrossed and your palms gently resting on your knees, keeping your spine as straight as possible. Relax your body. Take some deep breaths as you relax your mind. And you feel roots extending deep from the base of your spine, down through the floor beneath you, into the earth, all the way down, stretching. Those roots are going deep, deep, deep into the center of the earth that we see as a core of beautiful white light. And we start to pull and draw this white light up from the center of the earth through the roots, up through the base of our spine, all the way up our spine, up and out through the top of our head, showering back down all around us, continuing to pull energy up from the center of the earth through the roots, throughout our spine, shooting up out through the crown of our head and showering down all around us. And we do that a few more times, breathing gently but deeply. And we see this white light beginning to form a globe of light all about us, like a big, giant, beautiful bubble of light. And we recognize this globe or this orb of light becomes more and more solid, brighter and brighter, whiter and whiter, and now turning into a beautiful electric blue colored globe of light, the color of a gas flame. And we recognize that this orb of light is a protection, an empowerment, and a place where we can completely relax, let go, and feel safe. All right. Now, what you can do is just gently open your eyes, but still feel like you're in this orb. And I want you to find something to look at. It's just something gentle, just something to gaze at. It doesn't matter what it is. Any object is fine. And I want you to just sit for a moment and gaze right at the object, just very relaxed. Don't strain, just a gentle gaze. But in your mind, I want you to start being aware of the negative space. Everything that is not everything that is not that object. So even though you're staring straight at the object, I want you to become aware of everything that's not that object. All of your peripheral vision, everything about you. that's not that object is what you are now aware of. And you'll notice things starting to shift and change as you become immersed with the negative space, everything that's not that object, even though you are focused only on that object with your eyes. And just take a few moments to practice that technique of focusing on a particular object, but being aware of everything that's not that object. Breathing gently and deeply. And just relax your gaze for a moment, and you don't have to stare at that thing anymore. That's a nice little exercise to start using. For some people, they just pop out of their body when they do that. Some other people, it's just a tool to become aware of the astral around. You'll notice when you start doing that you might start seeing colors, you might start seeing auras, all kinds of stuff happens because you're becoming more and more aware of the negative space. And as you're more aware of the negative space, then you become more aware of the negative space in everything. And when we say negative space, we're not talking about like, oh, it's so negative. We're just talking about everything that's not what we're looking at. So when you start becoming aware of everything that you're not looking at in the physical, you start becoming also aware of everything that you're not seeing in the astral. And then you start being aware of the fact that the astral world is happening in conjunction with this world, that this world is just a distraction from the astral. Okay. All right. Now, another thing, let's take this one more little exercise that I want you guys to practice with this week, and then we'll reconvene next Witchy Wednesday, and we'll move forward from here. Okay, so here's this next little exercise that I want everybody to accomplish. Now, this only works well if you are if you live in a place that you've lived in for at least a few weeks, that you are familiar with the place. Okay, because this is going to show you how imagination is a cross section with the astral. Imagination and the astral plane work hand in hand. And it's through your imagination that you are able to not only access the astral, but also travel on the astral and will yourself to be in places on the astral. And so we're going to do that today. So again, in your orb of light, and I like the orb of light as a vehicle for astral projection. Just think like Glinda, the good witch. You know, she always traveled around in her orb. Well, we kind of do something similar, and this is a great way to do that. Now, some people actually have other vehicles, and you can do that. I have an astral broomstick that I sometimes ride. I used to do that all the time. Anytime I would take my astral broomstick and I would just ride around, but I would still be in that orb of light. Okay, but you can also just use that orb of light as a type of vehicle to travel. Now, what you're going to do is in your astral projection sessions, you'll sit with that orb of light and you'll start feeling yourself rising up in that orb of light, up, up, up. You don't have to notice whether you're out of your body. That's really not significant. That people put way too much pressure on themselves to look back and see their body and all that stuff. All that does is put a lot of pressure on you. That's not what it's about. It's about just getting up, up, up. You just feel like yourself floating up, and you start to imagine yourself in this orb of light floating around the room and moving through the wall and starting to move to a place in your home that you know very well. And you go to that place in your home, in your orb of light, and you surveil that entire room and you see what's there. You look and you see, are there bookcases? Is there a table? Do you notice anything on the table? Do you notice anything on the sofa or wherever you are, whatever room you happen to be in? Do you notice anything with the rugs? What do you notice? Just keep looking around. Just take a nice, easy surveillance. Now, you may only be able to keep this up for a couple of moments at first, and then you just get too tired. And if you get too tired, you just go right back in your body. There's never a danger. People that are talking about the danger of astral projection, give me a break. It's like the danger of daydreaming. It's like you do it all the time. The danger of going to sleep. There's no danger in astral travel. Okay, there is no such thing. But you still want to be protected anyway. Just because I'll talk about some of the different levels of the astral later. But as far as traveling around your home, you don't have to worry. So. But when you notice that you get too tired of this, because this can be fatiguing at first if you're not used to being out on the astral, you'll go right back into your body. It's an involuntary thing. You've done that before, right? You've just been like sort of in that little twilight place, and you've been traveling, and then all of a sudden you get that, and you just snap and land, and you feel like you're falling, and you just land right back in your body. That's just normal. That's just what happens when you're out on the astral, and it's time to come back, or you don't know how to maintain it. You just drop right back in. Sometimes it can be scary. It feels like you're falling, but there's never a problem. There's never really any danger. Right. Okay, so now when you come back from your little trip into the other part of your home, take out your notebook and write down everything you saw, every little thing you saw, and then go back out there and see if anything was different than how you saw it, or if you saw something that was there that normally wasn't there, perhaps. Okay? Because at first, you won't get a clear picture of the astral. You'll only get a picture of the astral as per your memory of the astral, as per your memory of what that looks like in the physical. Over time, you won't be relying on your memory so much as you are able to actually perceive what's really there. Because remember, there's that small little place where the astral and the physical are absolutely identical, and that's that part of the astral that we are focusing on right now. That's where we are really limiting ourselves to traveling on that one little frequency of the astral that is an identical representation of what's happening on the physical. And then as that gets more comfortable, try doing it every night for a week. As that gets more comfortable, you can try another room and another room. And then as you get more comfortable walking around your room, then you can walk around your neighborhood or fly around your neighborhood in the astral and do something similar. Once that becomes comfortable, give it a couple weeks, then we can start some other kind of cool things. But you have to just get comfortable being on the astral. Now, if you don't think that you're doing it, just use your imagination to do it. Just act like it. It's okay if it's not accurate when you first start. It's okay if you're not seeing the real astral. It's okay if you're only seeing the astral as you remember it. That's fine at first. Over time, you can replace one with the other. Okay, so that's our homework for this week, is I want you to, if you're not working on your orb of light every day and grounding and centering every day, please do so. Please use that as your basis before you do any of this work. And then work with negative space a little bit every day, and also work with traveling on the astral to another room in your home every single day. And again, don't do anything but write it down. These are experiments. These are science experiments. These are magic experiments. This is not about like, oh, I need to have mastery over this, otherwise I did it wrong. No. Take all that pressure off of yourself. This is playtime. You're exploring something new. You're exploring an entire different world that you didn't maybe really know existed. So if the only way to access that at first is through your imaginative memories, that's absolutely fine. It doesn't mean it's not real. It just means that you haven't opened up your eyes on the astral yet to see what's really there. You are relying instead on your memories of what the astral is for you, and that's a fine first step. Just to be clear, when you are proficient at traveling just on this one plane of the astral, there's so much you can do. There's so much that you can do. You can meet with people. You can have you that also know how to work on the astral. You can do work with people. You can, which is where that whole witches' Sabbath thing, where they were writing on broomsticks, and then they just turned it into all of this nefarious propaganda back in the burning times, that never really happened. A lot of what that was when people wanted to gather and convene and it wasn't safe, they would do it on the astral. They would do it on the astral, and when word about this got back to the powers that be, they turned it into, they're flying on broomsticks and they're eating babies and they're doing all these horrible things. You know how that works. The propaganda, the conspiracy theories, they've always been around, but none of that was true. But it was true that there was a lot of astral convening that was going on, and there still is, and we can do that too. And that's one of the ways that we can benefit from our work on the astral, as well as the fact that it's a lot of fun. And it's a lot more fun than anything you can find on Netflix once you're good at it. So even just the entertainment value is good enough itself. But then also, what are the other benefits of working just only on this one plane of the astral that doesn't really have anything to do with rising on the planes and working path working and all those wonderful things that are going to be topics in the future, but one thing that it does is it shows you that you and your body are not codependent. Once you leave your body, you're still alive, you're still you. There's nothing about you that's changed other than the fact that you're not confined by the limitations of your body. So a lot of the fear of death starts to just automatically leave us when we become more proficient on the astral, because we know there's really nothing to fear. Right? There's really nothing to fear. We recognize that our body looks the way it does because it's a product of the astral. So that's another benefit, is if we want to change anything about our body, we can start by changing the way that we appear on the astral. And then we know that's part of the causative plane, and that a lot of the things about our body that we don't like, or a lot of the healing that we want, if we can heal it on the astral, very often, not always, but very often, unless there could be other extenuating circumstances that we can deal with at another time, but very often just working on the astral is all that it takes in order to change things on the physical, and that includes our body. That includes our circumstances, that includes relationships, all of those things. So there's a lot of practical good that can be accomplished just by working only on this one little tiny itty bitty frequency of the astral plane, and that's the one that is the closest to our physical experience here. Okay, so this is a good thing to do. There's a lot of implications here, and much of it goes much farther and more beyond what we're doing just as using the astral double of our physical environment, and then we can talk about that more in detail after you get a little bit more proficient here. But as far as there's other levels of the astral that we want to learn how to access, and we want to learn how to rise up in, because that's good for our spiritual growth. It's good for our physical experiences, our physical body, and all of the manifestations in our lives. So there's a lot to be said about the astral, but let's just start out with this one little thing at a time. Give yourself about 10 minutes maybe a day to play around on the astral, and see if you don't find yourself doing a lot more astral travel than you thought you were capable of doing just by working the way we've talked. Also reminding ourselves to get that dream journal started. Okay, so get that dream journal started, start remembering your dreams, and or just writing down that you didn't remember your dreams. Then working on that orb of light every day, and grounding and centering every day. Work on that negative space gazing exercise, to just that really primes your awareness of the astral. And then also work on that exercise of lifting up and traveling to another room in your home, and surveying the room in as great a detail as possible, coming back to your body, and then writing down what you saw, and then go back and see if there's any parallels yet. If there aren't, don't be disheartened. Don't be disheartened if there aren't, because all that means is that you were on the astral, but you were on the astral using your imagination rather than your second sight. All right? All right. Well, thank you so much for being here today. And until next time, blessed be.